all of these pieces together in order to get one good revenue model. But this is not enough. People start to think, well, if I build this, it's no longer enough to do it. So you have to really think through this entire business model and say, how is it going to appeal to my target audience with the right offering, using the right resources, through a good marketing plan, and at a price that they will find attractive. So, we're going to look at revenue models tonight. Now, I'm going to divide them up by who pays. We're going to look at 3 different categories. First of all is where the channel pays. Second, the customer pays. And then finally, a couple of hybrid models. So first of all, we'll look at who pays when the channel is paying. And these are the ones we'll look at: subsidy, advertising, affiliates, and brokerages. So first of all, the subsidy. This is where you have assured income from a sponsor. Somebody's giving you money to do this. I saw this a lot when I lived in Belgium because governments would sponsor projects. And this was a great way to do it. It's great because you don't have a commercial focus. You don't have to worry about making money. You know that your income is going to come in. The downside is you don't have any market focus. You don't have feedback. You really don't know if you're providing something that the market wants. So it's a choice here. I'm willing to take the money, but I just don't know if I'm providing something of value. Now, here's some of the attributes. We'll look at attributes like this for each one. I won't go through them in detail, but I'll point out for each a couple of things that might be of interest. Certainly under core benefits, you don't have a market focus. This could be good, but it also has problems. Your revenue model, the sponsor guarantees the income until the sponsor decides to go away. And this is one of the big threats, that the sponsor, for whatever reason, leaves and you have no alternative. Now, you can do this in several different ways. I mean, here's a newsletter I get, and right there, presented by Coca-Cola. So you can think of sponsorships in many different ways. And it's a good way to get out there, get your name out, and to help fund some other kind of enterprise. The next one is advertising. We all know this. This is where you display a promotional message for someone. It's been well understood for years. It predates the internet by probably a century. But we have to wonder today, is it being overused? We see so many ads, offline, online. How many do you really pay attention to? It's sometimes thought about as an attention-based economy, where the advertisers are trying to get your attention. And they do all kinds of things to try and get that, because that's what's so valuable today, getting people's attention. So here's some of the attributes. Certainly core benefits, we know what this is. Everybody pretty much understands advertising. And businesses are pretty well accepted. They know about these things. But one of the key resources is you need a large volume of attractive traffic to an advertiser. Now, how large is large? Well, it depends on the advertiser and what they're looking for. If it's a very niche audience, you may not need a very large audience to do that. But if it's something, a mass market, then yeah, you need lots and lots of numbers. And I see a lot of companies who start out and don't really realize the size of the audience they're going to have to attract in order to make advertising work. Certainly, Google is the one that really started this online when they bought Omniture some years ago and then started putting these little ads down the side. And of course, today, 95% of their business is through advertising. Affiliates. This is where we pay for a referral. And it works really, really well online because it's pretty easy to set up affiliate networks. But they're a little bit complicated. You need to have a merchant who wants to advertise. You need to have affiliates who are willing to show this advertising. And then you need a network who puts all of this together. And here's again some of the attributes for this. That for the online offering, for advertisers, for those merchants, it allows me to reach many more customers than I could with just my own website. But for the merchant, it's really good. I only pay for an action. When an ad is shown, when somebody clicks on the ad. For an affiliate website that's showing the ads, it means here's a way for me to get some more income. And then for the network who runs this, well, this is how they make their income to do it. It's a great model. The problems with it, though, is that somebody else can come along and do the same thing. So how do you, as a network operator, try and differentiate yourself from others who offer similar ways to do this? Now, there are a lot of merchants out there who do it. Even Apple runs an affiliate program. And if you have a site, you can join the program and earn commissions. So if you're interested, if you're running a website in a particular subject, look around for companies who might be running an affiliate program that would work with the audience who comes to your site. Brokerage. This is where you set up a market and you bring buyers and sellers together in that marketplace. It's really big in the business-to-business world. We see it some in consumers, but it really works well in business-to-business. It does it because it's very category-specific. You set up a market for a particular sector and a particular commodity, and only people interested in that will come there. But when they come, it's a very educated audience on both sides. So it's a very different kind of marketplace than, say, Amazon, who deals with a few or rather small transactions from an audience who just impulse purchase. Whereas people coming here, they're very intelligent, they know what they want, and they're out there to make a very specific kind of purchase. Here's an example, steel web. If you need steel, you either want to have it to sell or you want to go and buy it. Then you go to somewhere like Steel Web, and you can go and make transactions in this marketplace. And then, of course, Steel Web will take either a fee or a commission, and that's how they make their money doing this. So the second category we'll look at is who pays in terms of the customer. And here we have manufacturers, merchants, subscriptions, and utilities. So first of all, the manufacturer. This is where you sell your own stuff. Now, this could be goods, it could be services, it could be information. But it's something that you generate and you control and you can sell. The best part about this is that you control the process because it is your own stuff that you're selling. Another good part is that you know your own customers. You deal directly with them. You get instant feedback as to what they might want. Some of the other attributes for doing this, you have different revenue models. You can do sales, you can do leases, you could do licenses, or you could do a service model. But a key threat is someone else who comes along with a similar offering and better benefits for that target audience. Quintessential is Dell Computer. They don't even have inventory. They wait till you order it, then they make the computer and ship it to you. They make their own stuff. As opposed to a merchant who is selling someone else's stuff. Now, you can do this with either fixed price or auction sites. It doesn't matter for that. These work especially well for digital goods and services because you don't have the issues of running warehouses. If you're selling a digital goods or digital services, what's your warehouse? It's a server. How much does it cost to add additional space to your server if you want to put more products in? A couple of pennies. So it works really well for digital, although it certainly works okay as well for physical goods and services. So here are some of the things. You can have a broad range. You can do wholesale or retail. And again, the revenue model, sales, service, leases, licenses, a lot of different ways that you can sell someone else's stuff for doing it. And you certainly have all kinds of people doing this, offline, online, certainly through apps, through websites, whatever. But there are many ways where people will collect things and then sell other people's stuff. Another subscription model. This is where you pay for access. This is a really good one because it's predictable. You know that people subscribe, you know how long they subscribe for, and you know what your revenue stream is going to be. Why do you think magazines pay so much attention trying to get you to renew every year? Because it's easy money for them. They already know who you are. They know what you like. It's easy, they hope, to get you to renew and ensure that revenue stream for them. And if you're thinking about this, you might do free or premium services in order to get people started. Start them with a free service and then offer premium services to get them to subscribe and then maybe renew that subscription the next time. Some of the attributes here, again, core benefit, it's predictable. Businesses really, really like that. But some of the threats, you can have a competitor who has better stuff or offers the same stuff at a lower price. You see a lot of these, selling magazines online, selling magazines offline. Lots of different ways to do a subscription model. Another model is utility. This is where you pay only as you use it. Again, it's predictable revenue because you can see how much people are using something and then know what your revenue will be from that. But the more you are viewed as a utility, the more you start to run into issues of monopoly and regulation. Again, some of the attributes, core benefit, as a subscriber or as a user, I only have to purchase for what I need. That's really good. If I don't use much, I don't pay much. On the other hand, key threats, you might have someone else come in who can provide that same service at a lower cost. People here use Dropbox. It's free. That's how they get you hooked. And then if you want more storage, then they offer premium services at a cost. Very valid. Then finally, two more to look at. First of all, hybrid intermediary and then community. So an intermediary is all about fast, efficient delivery of information. It works for a lot of different things. You can have customer information, you can have product information that you're selling. But you start to run into privacy issues with this. Some of the attributes to think about, core benefit, timely, accurate information. That's what people are looking for. So that's what you want to provide with that. It needs to be information that's indexed and searchable, so I don't have to spend a lot of time finding what I'm looking for. Otherwise, somebody else may come along with a better index, and I'll go there instead. And this is what you typically see for something like this. This is just a place they have sports scores. It's information, it's current. People like that. But there's also another category of information providers, such as Nielsen. They don't sell sports scores, they sell information about you. And this is where we start to run into privacy issues, because they're collecting this information. It's questions of who owns it, who has the right to share it, who has the right to make money from it. You could argue that Nielsen should be paying all of us a little bit of something for using our information. Then finally we have community. And this is where people contribute for their own personal reasons. And this is the whole social media movement. This is what social media is based on, that sense of community. But the problem here is, how do you make money from it? Because social media has some attributes that are attractive because the content's free. But things that are free tend to not have a very high value. People don't see free things as having a lot. You go, certainly you're given a free sample. Well, if you don't like it, you toss it. So there's a problem there with doing that. There's a problem with social benefits. How do people get benefits from doing this? If you want to do it for money, well, that's not really in the ethos for social media. Yeah, is there a question?
Yeah, when are we going to admit that free social media isn't free? Because we're selling our information.
Yeah, I fully know that free social media is not free. You got to pay for the business somehow.
Not free at all.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't think it through. That if I'm on Facebook using Facebook, well, how does Facebook make money?
Are we selling or exchanging it unwittingly?
Unwittingly exchanging it.
Yes, I think we're selling it. I'm in the market, but I think we're unwittingly exchanging it.
Giving it away.
Well, you're making that, you have a value judgment. I'm willing to use this free social media site, and in exchange, I will put up information about myself. And then people don't realize that they're going to go out and use that information for other things. I think people are starting to realize that now because things happen. They start seeing ads following them around. They start getting strange emails. They start reading stories about places that indeed are tracking them. So there's been a lot of, it hasn't been fooling people, but it's just people haven't thought through. I always tell them, follow the money. See where the money's going, and then that tells you what the motivation is for that particular company.
Yeah, I dropped on Facebook, dropped my birthday by 20 years.
Yeah.
And I stopped getting the pension and travels and the funeral insurance and the oldies dating pages.
I looked up my profile on Google, and they think I'm a woman. No wonder I get some strange things up there. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, here's one, Wikipedia. I mean, they run where they actually ask for donations. But I think you have to realize it does cost money to run things like this. They've got to run servers. They've got to have bandwidth, if nothing else. So to think that social media is totally free is really not thinking through how this works. Now, we've looked at 10 different models here, but there's one other thing you need to think about when you're thinking about how am I going to apply one of these revenue models. And that's differentiators. Because if you're selling shoes online, and I'm selling shoes online, and you're selling shoes online, well, we need to differentiate ourselves so that people will come to me rather than to you. So differentiators are all about why am I different? Not better or worse, but why am I different? And this really matters. Because if you think here about this little matrix, as value increases, you think about whether you are differentiated or not. If you happen to be down here where your offering is not unique and it's not differentiated, then you really have to ask, well, why am I even in that market? It's hard to sell in that market because why would people come to me? Well, what about over here if you say, I'm not unique, but I am valuable? Well, here you're in the place where you're competing on price because one is just as good as another, so I might as well go and get the lowest price one. Over here, if you're competing, well, I'm unique but not valuable, well, there may not even be a market here because if people don't see value, then they're just not going to come and buy from you. And then finally, where you want to be is where people see you as both valuable and unique. Because this is where you can start going for big margins and actually use this to your advantage. So here's some common differentiators that you can use. First is personalization. What is Nike selling here? Shoes. But they're shoes that you can design it the way that you want to. So you can get shoes that are not like anyone else. Personalization. Shoes of prey. Well, that's for ladies. You know Shoes of Prey? Well, look them up. Women's shoes, customized design. They're in Sydney. You'd have customization. Now, in this case, I've gone to Google and I've just put in grocery store, and Google has showed me grocery stores here in Melbourne. And they did this because they know I'm located here in Melbourne by my IP address and said, well, he probably wants to see local grocery stores. But on the other hand, if I do the same search and I'm located in Boston, I see a completely different set of data. Same search, different location. So here they've gone and customized the offering depending on what they know about me. Another one is freshness. Here, baseball runs on statistics. They've been keeping them since the game started. They have lots and lots and lots of numbers. And people really, really like it. So here's a site that offers lots of baseball statistics, the newest stuff, the newest numbers. But if you look at the bottom, they also offer statistics from the Negro League, which ceased operation in 1948. So here it's not the freshest information, but they say we've got it available, it's indexed, and it's searchable. So for those who are interested in old information, they'll come here as well. Another differentiator is price. This one's pretty obvious. Fashion knockoffs, fall handbag styles, special savings, red tag and save. It's pretty obvious that this place is selling based on price. That's their lead thing. They say, yep, we'll sell you a fashion knockoff, but we're doing it competing on price. Anybody here use Red Laser? It's a little app, take it on your phone. You can go into a store, point your camera at a barcode. Red Laser will read the barcode and then come back with other stores selling the same product and what they're charging for it. So now if you're a merchant, sort of works here in Australia, it depends on the database that it's got. But it means if I'm a store owner now, I'm having to compete real time with all the other stores in my general area. Because Red Laser has looked up the pricing and saying, here it is, real time. Now, on the other hand, there's also room for quality. We just saw Fashion Knockoff, which is selling handbags. And here's Yves Saint Laurent, and they're selling handbags. Same product, but they're doing it very different because they've said, you want quality? Price is not important here. There's always room for a quality offering.
Apple.
Yeah, Apple model. Assortment. Well, here's Amazon. Their assortment is pretty much anything we can think of to sell. It's really, really wide. But you can go extreme opposite end of this. This is Parrot Secrets. The guy here sells only one thing. He sells a book about how to train your parrot. Now this came around a couple years ago. It was really, really getting a lot of attention because the guy, it's a single guy. He lives with his parents in India. Very low cost operation. And he was clearing several $100,000. A very niche market. Very narrow assortment. So, when you're thinking about building your revenue model, here's some things you need to think about. First of all, we've looked at different sources. And we've looked at 10 different ones that you might be able to use out here. We then said you need to add these differentiators. And then from all these, you can then come up and say, here is the offer that I'm going to give out here. Now, let's just say that I'm a manufacturer and I want to have a pretty high price point for what I'm selling, and I'm not going to have a very wide assortment. Now, I was thinking about this the other day. Anybody know any companies that do this? Apple, yeah. That's what yeah. High price, very low assortment. Only a couple models of computers they offer. And, high quality as well. This is what they do. But you can say, I've got a different model. Well, I want to sell information, lowest price point, and it's fresh. And then you say, I might want to do a different model. I want to go out here and I want to have an affiliate program that has high quality. Notice anything about all of these? Apple does them all. Yeah, all of these. So you don't have to stay with just one revenue model. You can actually do a bunch of these all at the same time and come up with a way to do this. Now here's an example I ran across the other day. I'm an amateur astronomer. I like telescopes. And this is a place that rents telescope time. So you can go online, you can rent one of their telescopes, you can give it some instructions to go at a certain time, point up here, run a viewing session, take data, and then send it to me. So it's a great way to do this. And these are not slouch telescopes. I mean, this is a 31-incher. That's an expensive machine. You can do research-grade work with machines like this. First of all, notice, let's start out. You got a free trial. That's to get you in there and hook you. And then if we look at the pricing scheme for this, first of all, it's a subscription because they say you pay every 28 days and you pay depending on the amount of usage that you want to do. Why 28 days? Why not once a month?
You get 13 months in a year.
Sorry?
You get 13 months in a year.
No, 28 days.
This 13 months.
It's the moon.
A moon. It's the lunar calendar. Yes, exactly right. Because when the moon is up, it mucks up your observations. It's too light. So, they actually give you a discount when the moon is full. Yeah. So, here we have an assortment. They got lots of different telescopes that you can select from. You certainly have an issue of freshness because they keep track of the moon. And if the moon is up, you don't pay as much because you can't do the same quality of research. And then finally, they only charge you for the time you're imaging, not the time to set up the telescope. So this is a bit of a utility model. So they've thrown all of this together in one offering that can appeal to amateur astronomers around the world who want to go and make real good observations. It's a really nice example of combining several different things into one. And this brings us to the final point, that really oftentimes it's not the product or service that you're offering. The value online is the business model itself. How are you offering it? What is the value proposition? What resources are you using to do it? And what's the revenue model? Now, I started out with this. Anyone still willing to pay me $15 for a $10 roll of quarters? Can you make a business off that? Someone's trying. Yeah, for laundromat. Yeah, they'll say, you need quarters for the laundromat? You don't have any. Well, they'll put you on a subscription model, and every month they'll send you quarters. They'll send you $10 worth of quarters and only charge you $15 for that. Now, how do they appeal to you? Well, it's sort of an interesting appeal. It's the appeal to dirty underwear. I'm not quite sure what that is. Freshness, maybe. But that's how they're making their appeal for it. And certainly they have ways to set up the pricing model. They have no idea how these guys are doing, but it's just really, really interesting here. They're charging you $15 for $10 worth of quarters. So, with that, I'll leave it up to you to go out and work up your own business model. I'm happy to chat about any questions, comments, or suggestions.
Can we lift the $15 a bit higher and set up a proposition?
You can try it and see what the price sensitivity is. Yeah. It's the way to do it. Oh, also one other thing. There is a handout. If you like the information here, drop me an email, and I'll send you the handout that goes with it that's basically got all the information in it. Other questions? Great. Thank you so much. I enjoyed it.